Easy rivalers, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about the most important thing that you can learn in any hero shooter just like Marvel Rivals. Counterpicking. As a Grandmaster player, I'm going to try my best to give you at least one counterpick to every duelist in the game on every single role for Season 1. So no matter if you're a Vanguard, Strategist, or Duelist main, if one person in particular on the enemy team is being a massive trollop and giving you a hard time, this guide should point you in the right direction. Now, one thing I want to quickly mention is that I won't be suggesting Strategists based on their ultimate abilities alone. We all know that Luna, Cloak and Dagger, and Invisible Woman ults counter most duelist ults in the game, so they're always a good choice to have on your team. This guide will be highlighting general counter picks, not just based on their defensive ults. Right, kicking things off, let's start with Black Panther and his duelist counters. The best counter to Black Panther is Namor. This is due to his squids. Dive characters have a hard time against turret characters in every hero shooter. If you pair this with Namor's shift ability, also once you land a right click on Black Panther, it's over for him. Extra duelists that also counter Black Panther would be Iron Man and Storm, as they're flying characters, so it's hard for Black Panther to hit them. Scarlet Witch, as she can escape easily and whittle him down with her left click. Mr. Fantastic, as he can tank his combo and go bang for bang. Star-Lord, because of his maneuverability, iframes with his right click, and the fact that he's hit scan. And lastly, this one might surprise you, Squirrel Girl. All you need to do on her is land a right click stun on Black Panther and he's dead. If you play Vanguard, the best Black Panther counter is the Hulk. Hulk's shift ability gives yourself and teammates around you a shield, which completely interrupts Black Panther's combo. As Hulk is a melee character too, you can destroy Black Panther if you get up in his face when he's trying to dive your backline. Hulk is great at peeling, and Black Panther will have a hard time against you on Hulk. Other Vanguard counters for Black Panther are Penny Parker. This is due to her mind and the fact that she has a stun on a 5-second cooldown, and also Magneto, for a similar reason to the Hulk, in that he has a shield and a bubble that can interrupt Black Panther's flow. Moving on to strategists that counter Black Panther now, and I came up with one that I've had experience encountering him a lot on. Mantis. As Mantis' sleep is splash damage, it's a lot easier to stun him with this versus someone like Luna's Ice Blast. Once you land a sleep with Mantis, you can kill Black Panther instantly with 3 shots before he wakes up. Try your best to aim for the head and be as quick as possible as soon as you land that sleep. Next up, we've got Black Widow. To be honest, you probably won't come up against many of these online, as there's better picks out there that do the same job. However, the best duelist to counter pick Black Widow is Psylocke. Psylocke can get up to hard to reach areas where she might be sniping from with her dash. And as Black Widow also only has 250 health, Psylocke can kill her with one combo in seconds. Also, you can't shoot what you can't see. Snipers will always have a really hard time against a character that has stealth. Other great counters to Black Widow on this role would essentially be any dive character, such as Black Panther, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Magik, and Wolverine. Hawkeye is also a great counter, as he can one-shot her and she can't one-shot him. The best Vanguard to counter Black Widow would be Venom. This is because he can dive her in the backline and she'll have a really hard time killing him before he destroys her and escapes for free with his web swing and self-shield. As a Venom, you'll need to make it your job to dive snipers and the backline to give them a hard time. In a similar way, Hulk is also a great Vanguard choice because he can also dive Black Widow. And Doctor Strange works really well too because of his shield, blocking all of her shots for your entire team. If you're a strategist, the best counter pick for Black Widow would actually be Adam Warlock. A fully charged right click from Adam Warlock will have Black Widow panicking. Paired with the fact that he's a hit scan character with decent damage and self-sustain and healing, you can most likely 1v1 any Black Widow on him. An extra counter as a strategist would be Rocket Raccoon. This guy is so hard to hit on Black Widow as he's small and nimble. Rocket can also get up to hard to reach areas and melt her with his gun. Right, next on the chopping block, we've got Hawkeye. This character can be really oppressive and carry a team to victory, even after his nerf, so knowing how to counter him is essential. Starting with duelists again, the best counter to Hawkeye is Black Panther. Black Panther is really hard to hit due to his maneuverability, and Hawkeye has to lead his shot forward. Playing a dive character like Black Panther is great against Hawkeye, and you can cover a lot of distance against him too, making his double jump and slash ability less effective, as you can close the gap quickly on Black Panther. Other dive characters are also great against Hawkeye, such as Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Psylocke, and Magik. They're all great picks, especially Magik, as you have invulnerability with her shift. Okay, let's talk Vanguards. I actually think Captain America is his best counter on this role. You can deflect his arrows as you approach him, dive with a barrage of melee attacks, and once he tries to escape, you can close the gap with your dash ability and ranged attacks. Other great counters for Hawkeye are Venom and Hulk, as they can dive him. Shield Vanguards, however, are slightly less effective against Hawkeye, as he can shoot through the shield with his piercing arrows. As a strategist, Duelist, you're going to want to play either Luna Snow or Adam Warlock against him. For similar reasons I mentioned to Black Widow, Adam and Luna are probably your best bet as they both have hit scan and can fight back at a distance, making Hawkeye's job more difficult. Luna also has her freeze, which you can hit from far away, her shift ability, which does great damage, and her passive movement speed makes her a really hard target to hit. Let's talk about Hela. She dominated Season 0, and Season 1 she's not as strong, but she's still pretty OP. She's a character that can hard carry if you don't counter her. Since her nerf, she now has 250 health. As a duelist, you should be playing Psylocke, because you can one-shot her with your combo. By the way, if you don't know the Psylocke combo, it's left click, let both shots land, right click, and then dash through them, which also pulls your right click out of them for some incredible burst damage. With Psylocke, you want to make it your mission to make Hela regret picking her. Close the gap with your stealth and try your best to kill Hela early on. Other great counters, and I'm starting to sound like a broken record now, are dive characters such as Black Panther, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, and Magik. If you're a Vanguard main, one of the best counters to play against Hela is Doctor Strange. His shield blocks a lot of her damage. When you get close enough, you can chunk her down with your primary fire and Maelstrom of Madness, your E ability. Hela has one of the best ults in the game, but not if you're on Doctor Strange. When she pops her ult, fly up to her and block every shot with your shield. This drives Hela players insane, trust me. Other great counters as a Vanguard are Venom, Hulk, and Captain America, as they can all do a great job at diving her in the backline. Okay, for strategists, Luna Snow is going to be a great choice against Hela. Usually you'll see a Hela posted up somewhere on the map. With Luna, you can freeze her from a great distance and match her shots as you'll also hit scan. The other great thing about Luna is her passive movement speed, making you a harder target to hit. Luna's shift ability also does a lot of damage and can win a fight against Hela if you're hitting your shots and they're missing. Other options here are Rocket Raccoon, as he's super hard to hit, Invisible Woman, as you can pull her off the high ground and jump her, and Adam Warlock for his hit scan and his right click. Okay, next up, let's talk about Iron Fist. Iron Fist can be an annoying duelist to deal with, especially in lower ranks, but he falls off a lot the higher you climb. As a duelist, your best counter to Iron Fist is going to be Namor. Namor is essentially one of the best anti-dive characters in the game because he's a hero with turrets. Pop both of your turrets out, land a right click on Iron Fist, and use your bobble to avoid Iron Fist's burst damage. Easy peasy. Other duelists that counter Iron Fist well are Scarlet Witch, Mr. Fantastic, Star-Lord, Squirrel Girl, and Bucky. We haven't spoken about Bucky yet, so let me just tell you, he's a demon at close to mid-range, and Iron Fist doesn't have that much maneuverability. He's easy to hit with your shift. As a Vanguard, your best bet against Iron Fist is going to be Penny Parker. Her mine setup will destroy an Iron Fist if he tries to get too up close and personal. Penny is a great counter to a lot of the dive duelists in this game, as it's hard to play a melee character destroy her spider nests. Make sure you and your healers play around your nest against characters like Iron Fist. Other Vanguards that are good into Iron Fist are Hulk, because of his shield and he can win the melee fight, and Thor, because Iron Fist's movement is easy to read, so you can keep spamming your Thor tackle into him and whittle him down. If you're playing strategist and Iron Fist is giving you a hard time, you might want to try out Mantis. Her sleep is splash damage, which I mentioned before, and it's a great tool against dive and melee characters. Other good options are Invisible Woman, as you can double jump away and push him off you to escape as soon as he jumps on you, and also Cloak and Dagger, because you can fade away quickly, discord the Iron Fist, and do a lot of damage as Cloak. If an Iron Man is giving you a hard time, the best duelist you can play to counter him is either Hela or Punisher. Both of these characters work a treat as their hit scan, which, for those of you that don't know, means your bullets don't have any travel time and hit as soon as you shoot. Hit scan characters are a great rule of thumb against flying characters, as you can make it harder for them to dominate in the skies. As Hela or Punisher, prioritize shooting the Iron Man out the sky first. Other good counters for Iron Man or duelist are Black Widow, Star-Lord, as you can fly up and hit scan them, and Bucky if you can land your hook on them. Just remember, Bucky isn't hit scan. Even Scarlet Witch can sometimes give him a hard time in the air. If you're a Vanguard main and Iron Man is giving you a tough match, you might want to think about one of the shield tanks. Doctor Strange would be my top pick here, as you can block a lot of his damage and also his ult, often saving your entire team. Another great option here is Penny Parker. She's the closest we've got to hit scan on a tank, and her right click is a 5-second cooldown stun, which can drag Iron Man down from the air. Another good option is Hulk, but only if you're confident you can grab him out the sky. It's not easy. Lastly, if you're looking for a strategist to counter him, it's going to be the two main hit scan picks to counter him, Luna Snow and Adam Warlock. They do a great job of shooting him out the sky, especially if you can land Luna Snow's shift or Adam Warlock's right click fully charged on him. Magik is one of those characters that you'll see either not do much in a match or absolutely carry. If it's the latter, the best option for a duelist to counter her is Star-Lord. One of the greatest things about Magik is her invulnerability she gets from her shift. However, Star-Lord also has invulnerability, and the great thing about playing Star-Lord into Magik is that you can usually read when she's about to hit you, meaning you can easily dodge her damage. damage. As Star-Lord, get yourself out of harm's way and keep your distance and spray her down. Other good counters into Magik are Namor, Scarlet Witch, Mr. Fantastic and Squirrel Girl. Iron Man and Storm as flying characters natively are really good against her, but if they're a good Magik, they will be able to dash up to you and get you in the sky, so just be careful. On to Vanguard counters for Magik. Hulk is going to be your best option against Magik. You can shield her burst damage and fight her back. She is also easy to chase as Hulk after she has used her dash ability. You should be giving her a hard time and protecting your healers on Hulk against Magik. Other good Vanguards are Penny because of her Minds and Spider Nest, and Thor. Against Magik, if you're a strategist main, the best counter is Mantis. As I've already mentioned before with other dive and melee characters, Mantis's sleep is really easy to hit as it's splash damage. Guys, also, I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but you know, if you've just skipped to Magik, I want to explain myself each time. Other strategists you can pick are Luna Snow because of her freeze, and Raccoon because of his movement. Up next, we've got Mr. Not So Fantastic. As a duelist main, one of the main counters is Squirrel Girl. He's a very easy target to hit, so you can absolutely chunk him as Squirrel Girl. Also, when his passive pops, he becomes an even easier target to hit with both your stun, which you can use twice, and your primary fire. Don't sleep on Squirrel Girl's damage. She's great against tanks, and he's basically a tank DPS hybrid. Other good counters are Hela if you keep your distance, the Punisher for the same reason, but he also has a shotgun, Iron Man, Storm, and Star-Lord. One of the best counters to Mr. Fantastic as a Vanguard is Thor. You can keep spamming your tackle to push Mr. Fantastic even further into your backline, where he would die more easily, or spam him with Thor's Awakened stance, doing massive damage as soon as his passive tanky form runs out. Other good Vanguards are Hulk and Penny Parker for her Minds. As a strategist main, Rocket Raccoon is a great counter to Mr. Fantastic. Rocket's gun does a surprising amount of damage when all of your shots land, which will happen most frequently against characters of big hitboxes. Use your maneuverability to stay safe from Mr. Fantastic, but when he turns into his tank form, this is when you can melt him with your gun. He won't stand a chance. Invisible Woman is also good against him because you can jump away easily, and Mantis is great because of her sleep. Moon Knight can seem like a tricky one to deal with, as he's got good escape tools, can do damage from a distance, and has a really cheeky ult. As a duelist, one of your best counters to him is Psylocke. You can hit scan him from mid-range, but most importantly, he dies to Psylocke's main combo because he only has 250 health. You can use your stealth to get close enough to one-shot him with this combo and give him a horrible time. Other good counters to Moon Knight are your dive characters, as you'll often find him on high ground. Black Panther, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Magik, and Wolverine are all good picks against him. Also, as a flying character, you're hard to hit, as Moon Knight's primary fire is projectile, so pick Iron Man or Storm to dominate him. One of your best options as a Vanguard to counter Moon Knight is Hulk. You can give your entire team a shield, rendering his primary fire, especially with an unk on the floor, useless, and you can dive him and stay on top of him until he's dead. Other great Vanguards are Captain America for a similar reason, and Venom for the dive. The main strategist I can think of to counter Moon Knight would be Invisible Woman. She's one of the only strategists that can escape his unk burst damage quick enough with her double jump. Also, as I mentioned before, he's often on high ground, so you can pull him off and get him down from there. P.S. You should never play Loki into Moon Knight, because essentially your clones are just extra unks. He will clart you. Namor is up next, and as a duelist, his best counterpick is Moon Knight, hands down. Moon Knight's primary and second fire bounces off Namor's squids, destroying them quickly and also doing damage to Namor if he's close to them. They're almost like additional unks. Namor will usually be posted up somewhere on the map, making him an easy target for Moon Knight's unk combo. Namor is almost unplayable against a good Moon Knight that's focusing him. Other great duelist counters to Namor are Hela, Hawkeye, Punisher, and Iron Man for the splash damage on his squids. Namor's best counter on Vanguard is Hulk. You can tank his turret's damage with your shield ability with ease and get up in his face, which is a place where Namor doesn't want you to be. Other Vanguards that are good into Namor are Venom to dive and also Captain America, as you can deflect his turret shots and his spear. When thinking about which strategist to play into Namor, Loki is the first one that comes to mind. Your clones will make it harder for his squids to pick a target, or even for Namor which Loki to land his right click on, and if he does get you, you can just go invisible and negate the squid's damage. Loki's ground heal will also heal you through most of the squid's damage. Psylocke is hands down one of the best duelists in the game, and one of my mains. She's got good movement, great burst, is hit scan, and has great escape tools. So how do you deal with her? One of Psylocke's best counters on Duelist is Star-Lord. Star-Lord is fast, mobile, and evasive, making it hard for Psylocke to keep up with him. Plus, with Star-Lord's iframes on his dodge ability, you can interrupt Psylocke's combo, spray her down, and finish her off with Blaster Barrage. It's a pretty tough matchup, but Star-Lord does a lot of damage. Another great counter to Psylocke is Bucky. Psylocke likes to play mid to close range, and this is where Bucky thrives. Again, you can interrupt her combo with your dash ability and kill her very quickly. Bucky does a ridiculous amount of damage and is capable of often winning this matchup. Star-Lord and Bucky defo give me the toughest time on Psylocke. Next up, we've got Psylocke's Vanguard counters. You're going to want to play someone like Captain America against her. Psylocke struggles with rushdown melee vanguards, and Captain America can also reflect her hit scan primary fire. He has the speed to keep up with her and can be a real bully in this matchup. You might want to pick Captain America and play anti-dive in your backline, killing the Psylocke when she tries to jump your healers. Other decent tanks against Psylocke are Magneto and Strange for their shields. Penny Parker can sometimes work, but Psylocke doesn't have a massively hard time destroying her spider nest, so it's hit or miss. When it comes to strategists, your safest option is Mantis for her sleep and 3-shot combo that you can kill Psylocke with. Other options here are Loki, as you can disappear and try your best to avoid Psylocke at all costs, and Invisible Woman for the same reason. Moving on now to Scarlet SWITCH. See what I did there? This character feels pretty underwhelming to play at the moment, which I wish I didn't have to say as I love the character. However, almost everyone on the Duelist roster outplays and counters Scarlet Witch, apart from the dive characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther. Scarlet Witch is okay against melee characters because she can disappear into the air and slowly whittle you down, but playing any other Duelist into her should be a good enough counter. I hope she gets a few more buffs. With that being said, she struggles the most into hit scan characters like Hela and Punisher. The best Vanguard counter into Scarlet Witch is Penny Parker. A good Scarlet Witch will try her best to be up in the sky as much as possible, and with Penny being the closest we have to a hit scan tank, she's your best option. We all know Scarlet Witch's ult is a bit miserable, and this is heightened against Penny Parker. Penny's net, which is on a 5-second cooldown, completely stops Scarlet Witch from ulting, and the hitbox is huge, so it's really easy to hit. If you're on Penny against Scarlet, she should never be able to pull off an ult without you ruining her day. Poor Wanda. Other good Vanguards against Scarlet are Doctor Strange and Magneto for their shield, because it takes her long to destroy them. For a strategist, I would say that Cloak and Dagger is a good counter to Scarlet Witch. Cloak's primary attack, which is similar to Scarlet Witch's, actually out damages her if you land the debuff Terror Cape on her. You can also use Cloak's disappearing ability to avoid dying from Scarlet's ult, if she makes it that far. I realised when we were editing this video that another really amazing counter for Scarlet Witch is Cloak and Dagger, because when you blind her, it literally stops her from auto-attacking you with her left click. So if you blind a Scarlet Witch as Cloak and Dagger, she's just made completely useless. Luna is also a great choice as she is a hit scan strategist, and Invisible Woman can use her pull ability to get Scarlet Witch in a tricky spot where she'll die against your duelists. A good Spider-Man can be a very scary thing to come up against, but with the right counter, he becomes more of an insect than a superhero. You might think that flying characters would be good into him as he's a diving melee character. However, a good Spidey can close the gap in the air and destroy Iron Man and Storm with ease, so it depends on their capability. Assuming they're decent at the game, your best duelist counter is Namor. We all know by now that Namor is king against dive characters, and this is no different against Peter.
Oh, Peter!
Other decent counters are Scarlet Witch, as you can place your stun on top of yourself when he dives you, avoid his combo with your disappear, and left click him down with auto lock. Mr. Fantastic, as you're a tanky melee, and Star-Lord, as you can keep a bit of distance whilst dodging his attack and abilities, are also good options. If you're a Vanguard main and Spider-Man is giving you a tough time, you might want to change to Penny Parker. It's hard for Spider-Man to destroy your spider nest and he'll die quickly to your mines. With your net stun, you can also interrupt his chance at web swinging away to safety. Captain America is also a great option into Spider-Man, as you can keep up with him and brawl him, usually coming out on top in a 1v1. Your best strategist counter for Spider-Man is, you guessed it, Mantis. As I've mentioned a few times now, against dive characters, your sleep is such a great tool to win a fight against them, and it's really easy to hit on Mantis. Luna is also an okay choice, but your freeze is a lot harder to hit. Cloak and Dagger is also pretty good against him, well, Cloak, as you can discord Spider-Man and left click him down, similar to Scarlet Witch. If the enemy team has a demon of a Squirrel Girl giving you a hard time, a great duelist counter is Hela. Squirrel Girl has an easy hitbox with predictable movement, so you should be able to kill her at a distance before she kills you. My other best choice as a counter would be Iron Man. As a flying character, you can play a little bit further away, and you're hard to hit with Squirrel Girl. You might be thinking that Storm is equally a good counter, but Storm needs to play a bit lower to the floor as a more brawling character with her team. Another great counter into Squirrel Girl is Hawkeye. To counter Squirrel Girl on Vanguard, Doctor Strange is your best choice. A lot of Squirrel Girls like to spam their nuts into your team, often picking off squishies before the fight has even begun. Use Doctor Strange's shield to mitigate this damage and protect your team from her barrage of nuts. The same goes for Magneto, however your shield has less health. Other good choices are your dive tanks such as Venom, Captain America and Hulk, as she can't one-shot you when you jump on her, unlike your duelist divers. As a strategist, a great counter against Squirrel Girl is Rocket Raccoon. This guy is almost impossible for Squirrel Girl to hit due to his tiny hitbox and movement, not to mention his gun is great against her hitbox and can blitz her quickly. Another great choice here is Loki. He can flood the area with his clones, which makes it harder for Squirrel Girl to hit the target she's aiming for, so if she spams into a choke, she's probably hitting a Loki clone instead of actual people. Adam Warlock is also a decent option option because he can keep his distance and hit Squirrel Girl with a fully charged right click. A good Star-Lord can be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Iframes, great damage, and one of the best ults in the game that builds really quickly. A great counter for Star-Lord is going to be a hit scan characters. Hela is probably his best duelist counter because she has a stun for when he does get in your face. When he ults, don't be afraid to try and kill him as Hela before he wipes out your team. Other good choices are Punisher, as he also has a shotgun, Iron Fist, as you can block a lot of his damage and stay on him like a fly, Scarlet Witch, and Namor. Magneto might be one of Star-Lord's best counters on Vanguard. You can block a lot of his damage with your shield and buddle your teammates before he jumps them in the backline. The best thing about this matchup though is the use of Magneto's ult. Pop it when Star-Lord pops his and it will eat all of his damage, rendering him useless. Another good counter is Doctor Strange because of his shield, and Penny for the mines when he's focusing on diving. Cloak and Dagger, specifically Cloak, is great against Star-Lord as you can disappear away from his dive, discord him and suck him off. The capability to lock onto a character with this much evasion is huge. Loki is also a decent choice as it takes a while for him to destroy your clones and all of their healing runestones. Storm has seen huge buffs for season 1 and is being played a lot more in matches, and she can dominate a lobby. As she's a flying character that doesn't have the best movement options in the sky, put her in her place with a hit scan character. Storm's best counter is Punisher, as your ult will melt her, and second to that is Hela, so just pick whichever one you're most comfortable on. Other great duelist counters to Storm are a good Spider-Man that can close the gap and one-shot her, Widow, Star-Lord, and Bucky, but only if you can land your hook. I played Storm recently into a really good Bucky that kept on hooking me, and it forced me to switch off. As a flying character, a good option as a tank is Penny Parker. She can net her out of the sky every 5 seconds and also has a decent gun to deal with her. Doctor Strange is a great option for his shield, and Groot has long enough arms to do decent damage to her in the sky. When it comes to playing a strategist into Storm, you want to also think about picking hit scan characters. Adam Warlock and Luna are able to give her a hard time as she floats about in the air. Don't be afraid to focus her a little bit to help your duelist kill her quickly in a team fight. Punisher is up next, and if you're looking to counter him as a duelist, one of the best choices here is Bucky. Punisher has a pretty big hitbox and feels easy to play against when you're on Bucky. Your slowing ability is easy to hit on him, and you do more damage than Punisher, so it's a great matchup. You can also hook Punisher off the high ground and deal with his turret safely from afar with Bucky's gun. Other great options into Punisher are Squirrel Girl because of his hitbox, Hela, Hawkeye, Psylocke, and Magik. Punisher's best counterpick on Vanguard is Magneto. You can shield off all of his damage, use your bubble to protect yourself and your team from him, and counter his ult completely by using yours. Doctor Strange is also a great choice into a Punisher, and so is Captain America for diving and deflecting his abilities. Other dive tanks such as Venom and Hulk are also a great choice, as Punisher only has one escape tool on a 15-second cooldown. Due to Punisher's big hitbox, I find that playing Mantis into him feels pretty easy. He seems really easy to land headshots on, and if you damage boost yourself on Mantis, he's getting melted quickly. Mantis's primary fire is also great for destroying his turret. Luna is also a decent choice here as her freeze is easy to land on him. The next hero that we're looking to counter is Bucky, Winter Soldier. As a duelist, a great option against Bucky is Hawkeye. You can outrange him and damage him with your arrows. Plus, if he hooks you, you can use your sword slash ability and double jump to create distance between you both again. Bucky doesn't have crazy mobility or defensive tools. He's a pretty easy target for Hawkeye. Other great duelists to play into Bucky are Hela and Star-Lord. As a Vanguard, Bucky's best counter is Doctor Strange. You can negate all of his gunshots and abilities. Doctor Strange's shield is also amazing against Bucky's ult. If you shield the first slam, you won't be hearing Bucky shout, "Again!" Captain America is also a great counter for Bucky as you can rush him down and deflect his bullets. As I said before, he doesn't have a great escape tool, so you can really bully him. Other good tanks are Venom, Hulk, and Magneto. For the strategist role, Loki is a great pick against a good Bucky. Bucky is all about single target damage, so if you play around your clones and be as slippery as possible, you're going to give Bucky a hard time. Hopefully, he hooks one of your clones, and you can use your stealth to avoid him in a head-to-head. Mantis is also a really good option here because if he does land a hook on you, you can retaliate with a sleep. Last up on the list, we've got Wolverine. With Wolverine, you want to try your best to keep your distance. The best counterpick for him as a duelist is Hela. You can play high ground, fly away like a bird, just like Nelly Furtado if he comes for you, and do a lot of damage to him, especially as he has a really big hitbox. Namor is also another great option due to his squids that we all know are great against melee characters. Other good counterpicks against Wolverine are Psylocke, Squirrel Girl, Bucky, and Scarlet Witch. You can do great against Wolverine with Iron Man and Storm as flying characters, however, a good Wolverine might grab you out the sky, so be careful and play corners. Okay, we all know that Wolverine is the tank buster of the game, so a lot of tanks are pretty rough against him. You're going to want to choose a tank that can survive his offense and get you back to your team safely. With this in mind, I'd suggest Hulk, or Venom. Both have self-sustain and abilities to escape back to your team if Wolverine manages to grab you, like the miscreant that he is. Penny can also be a decent option here if you play around your spider nest and mines. To finish off this video, let's talk about which strategist counters Wolverine. That strategist is Invisible Woman. Did you know that Invisible Woman's shift ability, her sucky psionic vortex, will actually keep Wolverine completely grounded, meaning he can't physically jump away and take a tank with him. It's a complete counter to his game plan. Try your best to read which tank Wolverine is looking to abduct and put your shift ability on top of them. You'll be surprised at how well this works. Oh god, I'm knackered. Okay, that's every counter pick for the Duelist and Marvel Rivals on every role. Sorry if it seemed like I was repeating myself a lot. There's actually a lot of crossover, so it's pretty easy to learn. If you think I've missed a counter out, or if there's anything you'd like to add, please let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this guide, please consider liking and subbing to the channel. It really goes a long way, and a lot of effort goes into these videos. I should have a similar guide coming out for Vanguards and Strategists soon, so keep an eye out for those. Until next time, Rivalers, as always, I hope you leng it down in your ranked games.